Hello everyone, welcome back to TVP Wildlife, the channel where we bring you closer to the untamed beauty of the natural world. Today, we begin a fascinating journey, one that spans across burning deserts, endless horizons, and the mysterious resilience of one of the most remarkable creatures on Earth, the camel. This isn't just an animal documentary, it's a story of survival, companionship, and the extraordinary relationship between humans and camels that has lasted for thousands of years. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive deep into the world of the camel, the ship of the desert. The first glimpse of a camel. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of the Sahara Desert. The sun is high, the wind pushes waves of golden sand, and the air shimmers with heat. You might wonder, how could any living creature possibly survive here? And then, in the distance, you see a slow, rhythmic movement. A tall, elegant animal, swaying like a ship on rolling waves, makes its way across the dunes. That's your first true encounter with a camel. Its body looks almost sculpted for this harsh world. Long legs lifted above the scorching sand, thick eyelashes shield its eyes from blinding dust storms, and broad padded feet leave soft impressions behind. Most striking of all is its hump, or in some cases, two humps rising proudly from its back. But here's a fascinating truth. The hump is not a water tank, as many people believe. It's a reserve of fat, an energy storage system that allows the camel to endure weeks without food. Water? That's another story, and we'll get there soon. The desert test. The desert is not just hot, it's merciless. Temperatures can soar above 45 C113F by day and plunge to freezing levels at night. Sandstorms rage without warning, stripping away everything in their path. Most animals wouldn't last a day, yet the camel thrives. Why? Because every part of its body has been fine-tuned by evolution to master the desert's cruelty. Its nose can close during sandstorms, filtering air through a natural defense system. Its thick coat keeps it cool under the sun and warm during cold nights. Its stomach is like a water tank. It can gulp down over 100 liters of water in just a few minutes when it finally finds an oasis. Its blood cells are oval-shaped, unlike most mammals' round ones. This unique shape allows them to flow smoothly, even when the camel is dehydrated, preventing circulation problems. It's as if nature itself engineered the camel as the ultimate survival machine. The human connection. But camels are not just survivors, they're partners. For thousands of years, humans have looked at camels not as wild beasts, but as companions, helpers, and sometimes even family. Picture ancient trade caravans moving across the Silk Road. Dozens, sometimes hundreds, of camels carrying spices, silk, and treasures across impossible distances. Without them, vast regions of the Middle East, North Africa, and Asia might have remained isolated forever. For nomadic tribes, camels are everything: transport, milk, meat, even clothing from their wool. Their dung can be dried and used as fuel for fire, and their hides turned into tents and saddles. Entire cultures have been shaped around the camel's ability to survive and provide. There's a saying among Bedouins: a man without a camel is like a fish without water. The mystery of the hump. Now, let's return to the camel's most iconic feature, the hump. Contrary to popular belief, it does not store water. Instead, it's packed with fat, which can be broken down into both energy and water. This is how a camel can survive for weeks in the desert without eating. When the fat is used up, the hump shrinks, sometimes even leaning to one side. But when the camel feeds again, the hump returns to its full, upright shape. It's like a living battery pack, fueling the animal's every step through the barren wastelands. A creature of patience and power. Camels move slowly, yes, but don't be fooled. These animals are powerful and can carry heavy loads for long distances. They can walk up to 40 kilometers a day, even under blistering sun, with little water and patience. The camel embodies it. Unlike a horse that might panic or a donkey that might refuse to move, camels remain calm under conditions that would break most animals. This calmness, however, shouldn't be mistaken for weakness. Camels can be fierce when provoked. They spit, kick, and bite with surprising strength. This duality, gentle patience and explosive temper, makes them one of the most fascinating creatures to study. The desert symphony. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine it. The sound of the wind sweeping across the dunes. The crunch of camel feet pressing into soft sand. The jingle of bells tied around their necks as a caravan moves slowly toward the horizon. It's a sound that has echoed through history, a desert symphony that tells of trade, migration, and survival. Camels aren't just part of the desert, they are the desert. Thousands of years ago, long before the rise of modern cities, humans wandered the deserts as nomads, always searching for water, food, and safety. Imagine those early people watching wild camels roam the land, towering, resilient animals that could travel across the barren sands where no other creature could survive. At some point in history around 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, humans began to domesticate camels. There are two main types: the dromedary camel with one hump, native to the Arabian Peninsula and North Africa; the Bactrian camel with two humps, native to Central Asia, enduring some of the coldest deserts on Earth. Why two types? Because nature adapted them differently. The Arabian deserts needed speed and heat endurance, while the harsh mountains of Mongolia and the Gobi Desert required strength and the ability to withstand freezing winters. By taming these camels, humans gained not only transport, but survival itself. It was the start of a bond that would shape history. Caravans and the Silk Road. Now, picture this: a line of camels stretching across the horizon, each loaded with precious goods: spices, silk, ivory, salt. The air is dry, but the sound of bells tied to the camels' necks echoes through the desert. This was the world of the Silk Road, the greatest trade route of the ancient world. And who were its true heroes? Not just the merchants, but the camels, who carried entire economies on their backs. A single camel could carry up to 200 kilograms of goods. Entire caravans of hundreds of camels could move like floating cities across deserts, linking China, India, the Middle East, and Europe. Without camels, the Silk Road would have been impossible. They weren't just beasts of burden, they were protectors too. In the middle of nowhere, surrounded by silence and danger, a camel was the one reliable companion that kept merchants alive. Nomadic tribes, and the camel's role for nomadic tribes: Bedouins of Arabia, Berbers of North Africa, Mongols of Central Asia. The camel was not just useful, it was life. Milk, rich in nutrients, often more valuable than meat. A camel could provide milk daily, even in drought. Meat, a source of protein during celebrations or times of hardship. Wool, soft undercoat, wool used for warm clothing and blankets. Dung, dried and burned as fuel in lands without wood. Transport, carrying families, tents, and goods from place to place. There's even a deep cultural pride in owning camels. Among Bedouins, wealth was once measured not by gold, but by how many camels a man possessed. Songs, poems, and stories often praise the camel as a symbol of endurance and nobility. The camel in war. But camels were not only companions in peace, they were warriors in battle. Ancient armies used camels as war animals. Why? Because horses, unfamiliar with the strange scent of camels, would often panic. This gave camel-mounted warriors a psychological advantage. Historical records show that even great empires, from Persia to Arabia, relied on camels in their armies. Camels could carry supplies across deserts where no supply chain could reach. They were living tanks, slow but unstoppable. Myths and legends with such importance in daily life, camels naturally became part of folklore. In Arabian tales, camels were gifts from the gods, symbols of patience and wisdom. In Mongolian myths, they were guardians of the steppe, chosen by the spirits to endure both ice and fire. One ancient story tells of how the camel once had antlers, but lost them after lending them to the deer. In return, it was given the hump as compensation. These myths reflect the deep human imagination that surrounded this animal. Now, step away from history for a moment and talk about personality. People often imagine camels as calm, gentle, and obedient. And yes, They are patient. They can kneel gracefully for riders to climb on, and they move in a steady, rocking rhythm that soothes the soul. But here's the twist: camels also have a reputation for being moody. They groan loudly when annoyed, they can spit with surprising accuracy, and if pushed too far, they kick with bone-breaking power. This mixture of gentleness and attitude makes them all the more fascinating. They demand respect, not just obedience. Even today, in many parts of the Middle East, Africa, and Asia, camels remain cultural icons. Camel racing is a traditional sport, attracting thousands of spectators. Camel beauty contests. Yes, you heard that right, are held in places like Saudi Arabia, where breeders compete to show off the most majestic animals. The camel is not just surviving in the modern world, it's celebrated. Camels are social creatures. In the wild, they live in herds led usually by a dominant male. Around him are females, their calves, and sometimes a few subordinate males. The herd moves like one body, walking, resting, drinking, always together. Why? Because the desert is unforgiving, and unity means survival. Imagine a group of camels huddling together during a cold desert night, their warm bodies shielding calves from the wind. Or picture them traveling in single file, each following the soft footprints left by the one ahead. There is a quiet order, a harmony, that binds the herd together. But don't be fooled, life in a camel herd is not without drama. The battles of malice during the mating season, the calm desert often echoes with strange, guttural sounds. A dominant male is announcing his presence. Camels have unique ways of displaying strength. One of the strangest is the dulla pink, inflatable sac inside the mouth that males blow out during courtship or dominance displays. It looks bizarre, like a balloon, and it signals power to rivals and attraction to females. When two males challenge each other, it can get intense. They roar, spit, snap their jaws, and sometimes wrestle by necking, twisting, and pushing until one submits. These battles decide who gets the right to lead the herd and mate with the females. The winner struts with pride. The loser retreats, waiting for another chance. Motherhood in the desert for female camels. Motherhood is a long, patient journey. A camel's pregnancy lasts up to 13 months, more than a year, but the result is a single calf, usually born during the cooler months, when survival chances are higher. When a calf is born, it's a fragile creature with long, wobbly legs and big, innocent eyes. Within hours, though, it stands and walks, guided by its mother's gentle nudges. The bond between mother and calf is strong. The mother nurses her baby for up to a year, sometimes longer, giving milk rich in fat and nutrients. Calves stay close to their mothers, learning the rhythm of survival: when to walk, when to rest, how to endure the heat. For nomadic tribes, seeing a newborn camel is often a moment of celebration, a promise of the future. Communication: more than just sounds. If you think camels are silent creatures, think again. They have an entire language: groans and moans when they are tired or annoyed. Deep bellows, males use these during mating season. High-pitched bleats, calves calling for their mothers. Body language: flattening ears, swinging the head, or stamping feet when irritated. And of course, the infamous spitting. But here's the truth: camels don't really spit unless they are seriously provoked. What they actually do is regurgitate part of their stomach contents and fling it out. It's messy, smelly, and very effective at making enemies back off. So, the next time you see a camel spit, remember, it's not being rude. It's being defensive. Daily life, the desert route. And what does a typical camel day look like? Morning: if the herd is near vegetation, they graze on dry shrubs, thorny plants, and even salty desert bushes that most animals would never touch. Their tough mouths can handle it. Daytime, they rest, often conserving energy under the scorching sun. Their bodies are masters of water economy, losing little through sweat or urine. Evening, cooler air invites more walking and grazing. Calves play, chasing each other across the sand, their long legs awkward but full of energy. Night, the herd lies close together, eyes half shut, listening to the whisper of the desert wind. It's a rhythm of endurance, conserving strength for tomorrow's challenges. The emotional side of camels. But here's something most people don't know: camels have emotions. Ask any herder, and they'll tell you. Camels recognize their caretakers, respond to voices, and even show affection. There are stories of camels crying when separated from their young, or refusing to eat when mistreated. In some cases, a camel can even hold a grudge against someone who hurt it. Remember, this is an animal with a long memory. Their loyalty is legendary. Bedouins often speak of camels returning home across the desert, guided by instinct, to the very tents where they were raised. Playfulness and curiosity despite their serious image. Camels can be playful. Calves especially love to run, kick, and tumble in the sand. They chase each other in circles, practicing the speed and stamina they'll need as adults. Even adults have a curious streak. Leave an unfamiliar object near them, a bag, a rope, even a camera, and they'll sniff, nudge, and explore with surprising gentleness. It's moments like these that remind us camels are not just survival machines, they are living beings with character and charm. For millions of people in Africa, the Middle East, and Central Asia, camels are still the foundation of survival. In remote villages and nomadic tribes, camels remain the main source of milk. Camel milk is considered a superfood. It contains more vitamin C than cow's milk, is lower in fat, and has unique proteins that some scientists believe can help manage diabetes and boost the immune system. In Somalia, Kenya, and Sudan, camel milk is called the white gold of the desert. Meat. Though not eaten daily, camel meat is a source of protein and is sometimes served during weddings or festivals. Transport. In rural desert areas, camels are still the most reliable way to travel long distances where no car can go. Income. Camel trading is a major market, especially in countries like Ethiopia and Saudi Arabia. For many families, a camel is not just an animal. It is wealth, security, and status, just as it was thousands of years ago. Camel racing, the desert's Formula One. Now, let's turn to something unexpected: camel racing. Across the Gulf states, camel racing is a traditional sport with a modern twist. Picture this: sleek camels sprinting across a desert racetrack, their long legs pounding the sand as crowds cheer wildly. In the past, jockeys were often children, but today technology has taken over. Robot jockeys, small remote-controlled devices mounted on the camel's back, guide the animals while owners drive alongside in SUVs, shouting encouragement. It's a dazzling mix of tradition and technology. Races can draw massive crowds, with prize money worth millions of dollars. For many, camel racing is more than sport, it's heritage, pride, and celebration of the desert spirit. Camel beauty contests. Believe it or not, camels also compete in beauty contests. In Saudi Arabia, the annual King Abdulaziz Camel Festival gathers thousands of camels from across the region. Judges look for the perfect hump, long neck, big lips, and elegant posture. Winning camels can be worth millions, and owners gain immense prestige. But these events are not just about beauty. They're cultural gatherings where people celebrate poetry, music, and the Bedouin way of life. The camel, once a beast of burden, is now a symbol of cultural pride. Camels in science and medicine. Camels aren't only in deserts, they're also in laboratories. Scientists are fascinated by the camel's immune system. Their antibodies are smaller and more stable than those of most mammals. These unique molecules, called nanobodies, are now being studied for medical treatments, including cancer therapy and infectious diseases. Camels have even contributed to research on coronaviruses, since a strain called MERS, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, was linked to camels. By studying them, scientists hope to prevent future outbreaks. In short, the camel is not just a cultural treasure, it's a scientific goldmine. Tourism and adventure. Camels have also stepped into the world of tourism. From Morocco to Rajasthan, from Egypt's pyramids to Dubai's deserts, travelers ride camels to experience the romance of the dunes. Picture yourself atop a camel at sunset, the orange sky blazing as the animal sways gently across the sand. For many tourists, it's not just a ride, it's a dream, a moment of connection with ancient history. Ecotourism has also embraced camels. Trekking with them allows people to explore fragile desert ecosystems without damaging them, as camels leave minimal impact on the land. Challenges in the modern world, but life isn't all celebration. Camels face serious challenges today. Climate change is altering desert patterns, making survival harder. Urbanization means nomadic lifestyles are disappearing, and with them, traditional camel culture. Illegal trade and overexploitation threaten wild camel populations, especially the critically endangered wild Bactrian camel of the Gobi Desert. Fewer than 1,000 remain in the wild. Organizations are working hard to conserve camels, protect habitats, and support communities that rely on them. The camel's future depends on how humanity balances tradition with modernity. The camel's new identity. So, where does that leave the camel today? Not as a forgotten relic, but as a creature constantly reinventing itself. A provider of food and income, a competitor in sports and beauty, a symbol of culture and pride, a subject of cutting-edge science, a partner in tourism and adventure. The camel is no longer just the ship of the desert. It has become a bridge between tradition and progress. Let's begin with the rarest of them all, the wild Bactrian camel. Unlike its domesticated cousins, this species still roams free in the harsh deserts of Mongolia and northwestern China. It lives in places so dry and salty that even domestic camels would struggle. But here's the alarming truth. Fewer than 1,000 wild Bactrian camels remain on Earth. They are classified as critically endangered. Poaching, habitat destruction, and human expansion threaten their existence every day. Conservation groups are fighting back, creating reserves, monitoring populations, and educating local communities. The wild camel is not just another species, it's the living ancestor of domesticated camels, a genetic treasure we cannot afford to lose. Camels and climate change. Ironically, as the world faces climate change, camels may become more important than ever. As droughts increase and deserts expand, people in arid regions are turning once again to camels. Unlike cows, camels require little water, produce less methane, and can thrive where other livestock perish. Some scientists believe camel milk could become a key food source in a warming world. Could the camel, an ancient survivor, become a guide for humanity in the future? The answer may be yes. Lessons from the Camelbian science and survival. The camel carries something deeper. A lesson. Think about it. The camel faces blazing heat by day, freezing cold by night. It walks through endless emptiness, often without food or water, yet it endures, patiently, silently, with dignity. Isn't that a mirror of human life? We too face deserts of hardship, loss, and uncertainty. But like the camel, we can endure. We can walk forward, one step at a time, holding on to resilience, patience, and quiet strength. The camel is not just a desert animal, it's a living symbol of perseverance, a bridge between past and futures. We close this story, let's remember. The camel has walked with us for thousands of years. It carried our ancestors across continents. It fed and clothed nomadic tribes. It connected east and west along the Silk Road. And now, as we step into an uncertain future, the camel still walks beside us, an ally in survival, a treasure of culture, and a reminder of nature's wisdom. If humanity learns to respect and protect this noble creature, the camel will not just survive, it will thrive, carrying its story into generations yet to come. And so, dear viewers, our journey ends. We've discovered the camel's secrets, history, emotions, and future. The ship of the desert has proven to be more than just an animal. It is a friend, a warrior, a healer, and a teacher. Thank you for staying with us through this epic story. Here on TVP Wildlife, we hope you've been inspired by the resilience of the camel, and maybe, just maybe, you'll carry a little bit of its spirit in your own life. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to TVP Wildlife for more incredible stories from the wild. Until next time, stay wild, stay curious, and keep exploring the beauty of our planet. Goodbye, and see you on the next adventure.